It's time to blow your own mind. Yes.
Special guest, Miss Margaret. Margaret Packer on the set, y'all. Bam. All right.
I'm happy to
Hi,
be
honey.
here.
I'm happy that you're here. I'm happy you've been here all these years.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's,
You was here before you was here, though.
Mm-hmm.
When you were here via prayer, I used to trip out because a mutual friend of ours would say, Margaret, who only knew her through someone,
right.
Margaret told me to tell you she's praying for you.
Mm.
Or she would be on the phone with Margaret, and I'd say, oh, tell Margaret I said hi. And she'd tell Margaret, Lisa said hi. And she goes, okay. And then she'd say, Lisa, Margaret says she's praying for you.
Mm.
And I just knew her as the prayer lady.
Right.
You know, my grandmother raised me talking about you have intercessory prayer warriors.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what an intercessory prayer warrior was.
Right.
And they were always the older ladies at the church who just, baby, you know, and they just were angelic.
Right.
And here I was in the presence of this woman who was younger than me.
Right.
And I realized, oh, she's my intercessory prayer warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And so long before you were
The Margaret.
on payroll,
Right.
you were on prayer roll.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, she's been on the prayer roll for a while,
Mm.
long time.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Matt Gill and welcome to a very, very special episode of the Lisa Nichols Show with the one and only
Margaret Packer, Matt Gill.
and of course,
Lisa Nichols.
so listen, this is a special episode of just some of the questions that you have asked as well as kind of taking a look back. This year is...
It is our 20th year anniversary. It's our 20th anniversary year.
Yes.
Like 20 years?
Wow.
Like, yeah, when did that happen? And yet I remember so many details,
Yes.
you know. And then you look up and literally we looked up and you told us. We didn't even notice it. It
Right.
wasn't like we were like 5 to go, 4 to go, 3 to go. We were busy. If we could have missed it because we have elbows up,
Right.
heads down.
Right.
We're
ready
left,
to-
yeah.
Going on to the next year and planning
Yeah.
2019 and 2020, and it was actually the 2020. I'm like, oh man,
on.
that's a really big year, and then I'm like, wait, when are we gonna hit our 20th anniversary? And then as we started looking at when we were incorporated and looking at when we got started, like,
Right.
I'm like, holy crap, this is it.
Because for the record, on the record is the 20th year, but I was
Right.
in the hustle.
Right.
Like the 28th year.
Right.
But yeah, so we're official company for 20 years.
So what do you, like, when you hear 20 years, what comes to mind for you?
The first thing,
Mm-hmm.
I did it. Whatever it is, I didn't give up. I didn't give up. That's what comes up like, oh, 20 years, because, you know, there were so many deciding moments if I wanted to stop.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I want to stop at 3 years. And matter of fact, at 3 years in, I almost did stop because that's when I went through the relationship that turned abusive. And I was broken. And then I felt like I was a fraud because the motivational lady is so sad.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I was diagnosed clinically depressed and with PTSD. And so I thought, I can't do this and have all these issues.
Right.
Little did I know that it's the real life journey and you just walk
Right.
through it. So, you know, at 3, I thought I would definitely stop. And then at about 7, I couldn't see how to make the ends meet. And I was running out of money way before I ran out of month. I mean, way. And so there's so many points. You know, then Chicken Soup for the Soul came along and it was an amazing opportunity, but it didn't have any financial stability that came with it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I thought the checks were going to come in the mail. My first check from Chicken Soup for the Soul was $11.24. And I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work.
You're like, womp, womp.
Right.
Womp, womp. And then I had the urgent, like, I got, you know, everyone asked, I need to go back and get a job. I need to go so I was living in that for a long time, and then moved to San Diego and was by myself and with my son, and thought, you must be out your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because my whole thing, I'm going to give it all up to, you know, and so I always tell my students now, hold on.
Right.
Hold on, let's make a smart decision. And so I didn't know if all my decisions were the best. And so when I hear 20, I hear you made it, and made it not a landing point,
Right.
but made it on the other side of all those moments, you know. And now I know the moments are going to come. So I'm not without the moment. I'm just without the fear that the moment's going to stop me.
Right.
Because I've had so many moments in the last 20 years that, oh, I thought that was going to stop me. Oh, I thought that was going to stop. Oh my God, that really didn't stop me.
But you kept on pushing.
Right. And so
Yeah.
now I have more certainty in my push. So the magnitude of the doesn't determine my moving forward. It'll slow me down. It might stop me.
Wow.
Sit me down. But the magnitude of the I don't negotiate the moving forward based on the magnitude of the thing. Whatever
Right.
the next issue is, financial, relationship, weight, family, death.
Right.
I don't determine. So 20 years in, I go, that right there is going to happen. What we
Right.
need to climb over, how slow we need to get up sometime,
Right.
I don't know. But what I do know is that thing called motivating the masses, inspiring souls. It has a life, and it will have a life. It will continue to have a life as long as I'm
Yes.
breathing. I will breathe life into it. And so 20 years just tells me that I'm bigger than my circumstances.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I was with you before your first book.
Yeah.
I brought Jade to her house.
Yeah. 7 books later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. I remember
Wow.
when that book was coming out, Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. And I was so worried about the punctuation. And not because I'm like a punctuation perfectionist, because I have no idea
Right.
where I put a semicolon. And I was so fearful of being judged. And it was Chicken Soup for the African American Soul. So it was like a whole lot of people.
Right.
And it was representation. And people kept sending me emails, represent us well, sis. And with every email that's, gave me a charge, I just freaked out. I'm like, oh God, tell our stories about Black men. Tell our stories about our ancestors. Make sure you remember our stories about our hair. I was like,
Yes.
I don't know all the stories. Like, when I tell you, I was on the floor, on my face, crying out to God. God, please don't let me mess this up.
Right.
Please, I don't know what I don't know that I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and so that was the first time I reached out to strangers to help me. I've been reaching out to strangers ever since. I'm so comfortable. I am so.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was the first time, because I said, I am not going to write Chicken Soup for the African American Soul wrong.
Right.
Because it's one thing to have one Black person mad at you, but to
Right.
have all the Black people mad at you, that's
Right.
what's not going to happen on my watch. And so I just asked strangers, everyone who emailed me and said, tell this story, because they had published my name in my email somewhere, congratulating me as being selected as a co-author.
Wow.
And Chicken Soup for the Soul Enterprises sent it out to all their readers.
Wow.
With my email included. And so all the readers who wanted to wish me well
Right.
sent an email back. And then I sent them an email back, said, thank you so much. Can you help me? Do you have a Black man that you can tell me about? And can you help? Like literally. And I
With the subject line, I need help.
I need help.
Right.
Help me now, please, baby, please. And people responded, and it took 3 years to get that first book out.
Wow.
3 years,
Yeah.
meeting on the phone every month with this group of strangers, and then when the tour came, I didn't know where to. I didn't know what to. There was no instructions on how to do a tour, so I sent an email out to everyone who had submitted a story saying, "Please help me share your story.
Right.
Can you get me at your church?" And
Yes.
here's the parameter. Remember
Yes.
that? Here's the parameters. It has to have at least 500 people. I need to be able to speak for 5 minutes at least. And I need to be able to sell books. And I just sent out the message, and 27 people replied, so therein birthed the 27 city tour. and this tour was the chicken soup chitlin circuit tour. I tell you, it was the chicken soup chitlin circuit tour. I would land in a city, and I had my little Bantu knots, and I was dressed like this. Matter of fact, that looked like me. I had my little band. I had one little knot though. I didn't have this long. I had all my little knots. You remember those?
Yes.
Had all my little Bantu knots over my head, and I had my kente cloth and my mud cloth on, and I'd land to a city, and everyone knew who I was because I looked lost and scared. And my mother was taking care of Jelani. My Jelani would call me grandma because he was so used to saying grandma. Because I was gone so much, he would call me grandma when I came home. My mom would take care of Jelani, said, "Baby, go do your thing." And I would land in the city. I'd be like, I had no money. I didn't know. First of all, I asked the people, "Can I speak at your church?" When they said yes, I said, "Okay." "Can I stay at your house?" They said, "Okay." I kid you not. Right?
Yep.
Can you arrange somebody to pick me up at the airport? I mean, everything. And they could tell that this baby don't like it. Most people are a little older, you know. And I just land, and they get their cousin pick me up, and they come up to me and they say, "Excuse me, are you the chicken noodle lady?" Yes. "Excuse me, are you the chicken wing lady?" I mean, that book was called every
form of chicken.
because they thought it was a special version for black people. I said, no, it's the main book. "Are you the chicken with hot sauce lady?" I'm like, "Isn't this regular?" I went with everybody, and I'm gonna tell you, everybody on that tour, every house, I love y'all, I love you, love you, love you. Every single person made me their own special version.
Yes,
Of
a
chicken
chicken
noodle
noodle soup.
Man.
Oh my God. She doesn't eat chicken noodle soup.
They made me chicken and noodles, chicken and rice, chicken
Yep.
and vegetables, chicken and something else, chicken and grease, chicken and just water, chicken and broth, chicken and clear out the refrigerator and put it all in the chicken soup. It was. I had every kind of soup possible. I was grateful. I ate it all. I enjoyed it all. Amen. And then I hadn't eaten chicken soup.
And it's so funny for production day today. What did we have?
Chicken.
Yes. So that was the beginning.
One of the biggest things that I think probably one of the most common questions that come in, and Patricia Washington asked this question as well. She asked, how did you go from being on welfare and government's assistance to first believing that there was hope, and then to getting into action, into moving towards whatever your vision was at that time? Like what was what was the moment or the thing that just really shifted you and got you into action?
So the first thing wasn't a pull to something I want. The first thing was a decision. This ain't my residence. This mindset, this financial chaos, this is not where I'm supposed to be. So the first thing was, this is not who I am. It was incongruent. And I kept hearing, "Oh, you got so much potential. Oh, you got so much potential." I kept saying, "Can I meet potential? Can somebody please introduce me to my potential?" Because it feels like it's out there and I'm trying to close the gap.
Right.
And so that was the first thing, was I wanted to, I knew who I was being and how I was living was not congruent. I don't know. There was no evidence. My mom told me I could be great. My dad told me I could be, and that was great. I'd heard that all my life. But I knew this was not evidence of who I was supposed to be. The toxic relationship I was in, where I was living, the hustle, the trying to make the ends meet, like it felt, this is not me. I'm an imposter in a broke life. And I don't know what abundance looked like, but this is not home.
Was abundance even part of your vocabulary?
Not at all. I never heard that.
Right.
I was gonna say something. That wasn't a language in my neighborhood.
Right.
So no, my awareness was hustle, work hard, grind hard, pray hard, maybe one day. That's just how it raised in our church. So what from government's assistance to building a multi-million-dollar business, there was a long gap. A long gap in between. The first was, here I was in 1994 can't afford to cover my son and his own Pampers. You know, I tell the story about $11.42, but that wasn't the end of that. Matter of fact, $11.42 was a lot on some days. I had negative $11.42 at times. And so I was just tired of banking at 7-Eleven. I would bank at 7-Eleven, the ATM. I didn't even go to the bank. I was tired of not opening the mail because I knew it was an NSF check. I knew it was thin. It was from the bank. It's NSF. I was sick and tired of all of that. So the first step was I just agreed that I didn't like my life. And that was hard for me because I was always a cheerleader. And I had to say I didn't like my life. So I had to say my smile is partial. It wasn't all fake, but it wasn't all real. And then I had to be willing. I'm functionally dyslexic. And so learning has always been difficult for me. Learning is not easy. Learning is a choice. And so the idea of finally getting out of any educational environment after failing English the last time I took English class and getting a D- in speech the last time I took a speech class, when I walked away from education, I was cool. I'm cool. We don't vibe. The way you teach is not the way I learn. The way I learn is not the way you teach. Let's just agree to disagree, and you go your way, I go mine. That was really how I felt about school. And I knew when I was living on Arborvitae in Inglewood, and my son was a year old, and his father had been in prison now for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 months. I said, in order to get off Arborvitae and to give this African-American male child whose father is in prison a better than equal chance. Because right now, where we live and what's around him and where his father is, the natural path may not have been to prison, but the natural path was not the path that I saw for my son. So I had to raise the bar in some way. I had to get radical. So just me agreeing to learn was my radical. It was my radical because I didn't need to go back to. I was like, I'm cool. I don't move well in school. I didn't know at this time that I was functionally dyslexic completely. I thought I was. To answer Patricia's question and anyone else who answers, I get that question a lot. How did I go from government assistance? Is I was willing to do things that I'd never done before. People want to get somewhere without doing something you've never done before because the muscle is awkward, because it's not the norm. And I get it. It's not the norm, but I was willing to introduce myself to something strange so I can introduce myself to something new. And so I read books and I went to conferences. Now I got to tell you, I couldn't understand half of what them people were saying. No habla español. And it was embarrassing. And it was lonely. And it was expensive. And I just said, I'm going to just keep coming back until I understand what they're saying. So I was like a dog with a bone. If you want to ask Patricia, I was a dog with a bone, baby steps. And I didn't measure myself. Still don't to this day. You guys know I don't compare myself to anybody else. I don't even keep score. I'm just I'm in my lane. Oh, I see a little progress. Oh, I see a little progress. So that was the first step.
So even for some of the people that are watching this that feel that way, again, like we said, that is one of the most common questions. The fact that they're watching your videos, the fact that they're, attending live things that you do online, like that's part of doing something that you don't normally do.
Breaking your norm. Breaking out of your norm.
So one of the questions that also comes up quite often is not giving up. And Millicent asks this question. She says, how do you know when you're at a speed bump or a stop sign?
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Lord, have I hit a number of speed bumps and stop signs and a number of walls. I hit walls because I didn't see the stop sign. What I realize is action beckons clarity. And most people want to get clear, then they take action.
You might want to write that one down.
Yeah, so what we have been in is we have been in consistent action. Sometimes we've been in action going in the wrong direction. But that fed us information. We stopped, paused, licked our wounds, and turned around and changed direction. So Number one, I realized that a lot of times a speed bump means should I reset my goals, reset my date, get more support, slow down, check my ego, or ladies, my she-go at the door. So a speed bump is feeding us. It's feeding us information.
Right.
And oftentimes whenever I hit a wall, it's because I didn't listen to the speed bump. The speed bump didn't say stop. It said slow down. It says roll out your date. We make up dates, goal dates, and then we treat them like they're real. We just made the date up.
Right.
And then we start stressing out about it. Then we, kill the whole house and everything
Right.
just to get to the date that we made up. And so I redefined what speed bump was saying. As well as why speed bumps show up. Whenever I'm too emotional about something, emotion and logic don't mix. Emotion and logic will never mix. If I'm too emotional about it, am I proving, protecting, hiding, defending? Am I trying to? So then I go, hold on, that's a sign to slow down. If it's a stop sign, and I ask this to my friends who've said they want to get a divorce, or someone who said that they wanted to quit a job, I always say, did you do everything? Remember, I've said we've talked about this with other people.
She did it to me.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah. Did you do everything? And if it's a no, then let's go back and try that thing you haven't done. And I kept saying it to you, right?
Yep.
In your previous marriage, did you do everything? Okay, let me try something else. And then one day, did you do everything? And the answer was
Yes.
I said, well, then let's complete it. Right. And so if there's something else for you to do, matter of fact, we were just talking about this yesterday. I said, my hip has been hurting me. And they gave me a medical solution and they gave me a natural solution. Right. And obviously I would want the natural solution. And I was telling Margaret, and she knows how much pain I'm in. She was like, well, we might need to go to the medical solution. I said, but I haven't done everything yet. She told me to do this, and this. And I haven't done everything.
Right.
So I need to do everything. And so, a stop sign is a stop sign when you've honestly done everything. Not when you're exhausted.
Right.
Let me be clear.
Yes.
Not when you're frustrated. Not when you feel, desperate or lonely. All of those are emotions.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't make a logical decision. Don't make a logical decision based on an emotional state of being.
So how do you determine the emotion? Like when you're sitting in emotion, like what's a question or something that you can ask yourself to put yourself in check? Be like, am I making a rational decision or am I in emotion?
So first, find out what are all the things that can be done. So take it out of emotion, go very linear. What are all the things that would make this business, this relationship? Right. What are all the things? So with Margaret, I said, okay, so there's counseling, there's conversation. I went down the list back, this was 10 years ago. And we went down the list and just kept checking the list. And if you don't know the question, have I asked somebody, what question should I ask?
Right.
Have I asked someone, what are all the things you can do to keep a business going? Even that piece.
Right.
And then just honestly, just check, have I done that? It's a check. So the check in the list is not emotional.
Right.
Everything else is.
Right.
All that how I feel, and it blows my mind. People say, but Lisa, I'm tired. Me too. me too.
Right.
When Tavia was doing my makeup today, she said, close your eyes. I said, when you pass 4 seconds, I go to sleep. If you tell me, hurry up and put the eyelashes on because I'm asleep because I'm exhausted.
One of my favorite stories of you and your exhaustion and this is
really
superwoman power.
Really?
Where I was probably not even a year in the program of learning how to be a
You don't want to listen to this. You don't want to hear this.
And I had heard rumors of your talent and your skills, of how you could fall asleep and then wake up and pick up a conversation right exactly where you left off. So
you can do that.
See, I didn't believe you guys when you got, because I'm asleep.
Right.
I go to sleep. I take, yes.
So that's like power naps to the 10th degree.
Right, exactly. Because she can't.
It's called superpower naps.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's power naps and then there's superpower naps.
Yes.
So we're on a train on the way to LA. She's sitting now. Number one, it's still in.
You're new.
And just I need to. This this is the boss, and I got to be
And it's
really
one of the
good.
few times you're with me by
yourselves,
ourselves, right?
For
So we're
2
on a train
hours on the trains
from
heading
San Diego to
to
LA.
LA, and we're talking numbers, and you're talking about, if you do so many workshops, you can get this, and what are your goals? And she has a calculator out, and we're touching, tapping, and she's like, if you do 5 of these and 4, and
And if you
she went out, like literally head on my shoulder in the middle of, I said, oh, conductor, somebody.
and then
4, 7, 2, 5. If you do that and like pick up right where she left off, like, I just looked at her like, is this for real?
nobody warned me.
And then I had to tell everybody, and
It happened. And I used to deny that until I start hearing it from multiple sources. Like, you just finished your sentence and you were asleep for 5 minutes.
right.
I was like, And I heard myself snoring. I felt the snore. I felt the goodness of the deep gut snore. And then I woke back up and finished my thought.
Right.
It's just crazy. I don't know how you do that.
Well, what's funny is for the last 20 plus years, I felt like sleeping interrupted my dream. Eating and using the bathroom all got my way. So anyone knows me, they know that I do very little, or I either do it very little or do it fast.
Right.
Because I was excited about doing this. And it's kind of corny to think about it. Like, are you kidding me? For like 25 years, I'm like, hurry up, let me sleep. What? I don't want to miss anything.
Right.
And then eating, like, come on, you guys, let's just take a snack and keep going. Don't sit long. That's why I don't eat a lot. I don't eat heavy. I don't want to get sleepy. I don't want to miss nothing.
Right.
And then the whole restroom thing, people laugh because I come out the restroom so fast. I have to say, I washed.
How many seconds, Margaret?
I promise you,
I know.
when we go into the restroom, I go into the stall, she goes into the stall. She's there for like probably 2 or 3 seconds. And she's like, I'm done. And I'm like, I'm not done. And she's already washed her hands by the time I get out.
But you know what it is? It's unconscious.
Right.
It's unconscious excitement
Yeah.
about let's go back out, whether it was I was creating 18 years ago in my bedroom, I lived in the content, just creating what would I do, how would I do it.
Right.
And so it's when you are walking in the direction, you don't even have to be on the right block, in the right house, but when you're in the right zip code, you don't want to miss too much. You don't want, and you'll the good days will outweigh those other days all the time, every time.
That's why I power nap.
Right.
Because she can run all day long. She can start early in the morning and go all the way till 11 o'clock at night.
And while she's resting, I'm doing this.
Because I have to
I'm
power
quiet,
nap.
I'm quiet, right?
She is
I
quiet.
quietly just kind of watch her.
She's waiting for me to wake up.
Right.
But I can take a 15-minute power nap. And literally, it's a power nap.
Yeah. And I can't take a power nap. If I do 15 minutes,
She mad because she want 2 hours.
15 minutes is an appetizer for 2 hours.
Yep.
You're like, when I go down,
I'm
I go
down. I'm
Right.
down. I'm all that powerful. People wake up. She does. She wake up. Okay, I'm ready. I wake up and like, what happened? Where are we?
Right.
So I just hold it off. And we were in Taipei. Suze and I were in Singapore. And we had just finished this big tour. And it was our one night to go out dance. And I was like, yes, we're about to go out dancing. Yes. And so I kind of saw Susie was kind of crawling a little bit. And I was like, it's okay. You're going to get another win. And she was like, I just need to just lay down for a little bit. So I'm like, okay, a little how?
Right.
Like, is that a little 30 minutes? 45? Just tell me. She's like, I just need about 45 minutes. I said, okay. And I promise you, I look like a stalker. She's laying in the bed, and I'm just sitting there watching her. And every time she moved, I'd be like,
Oh.
and like an hour went by, so I'm like, I'm shuffling bags, and she's just not moving. Finally, an hour and a half, I was like, Suze, Suze. Like, and I'm not thinking how tired she is. I'm thinking, you're oversleeping. It's 90 minutes. And I'm like a little sister. She finally says, Lisa, I can't. I got to tap out. I cannot. I was like, okay, I'll take video. I'll take video. If you change your mind, she's like head under the pillow. Like, if you should change your mind, I'll text you back where I am. I'll WhatsApp you where I'm going. I just didn't get it. She was like, get out of here, chick. You're overrated.
I love it. I love it. So stay tuned. We're going to have some more incredible stories of just reminiscing of 20 years and some more of your questions.
Come back for more of the journey, the behind the black curtain stuff that you might not hear about on stage. I love it.